All right. It's 3 o'clock and we always try to start on time. Hello, everyone. Welcome on this call.
Yeah.
While others are joining, let's play a very interesting creative imagination game. All right. So can I invite everyone to keep your videos on? It's so difficult to talk to the blank screens, that to black screens. So I'll wait for a few seconds. Thank you. All right. Let's play a small imagination activity. Now, can you all see the screen? Blue screen? Can someone tell me if you're able to see? Yeah.
No. No.
Right.
No problem.
Now we can.
Yeah,
now
no,
we can.
no.
It's
Yeah.
just started coming. Yeah.
So if the color blue had a sound, what would that sound be? You will have to unmute, tell me the sound and mute back, please. So if the color blue had a sound, what would that sound be for you?
For me, it would be the sound of the waves.
I think this both should attend.
I would
This
like
is
to hear this sound. So I don't want the explanation of sound. So what would be the wave sound, Aditya?
Yeah,
Kind of
done. Done.
We'll have to. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So
Hi.
what is the sound, Aditya?
I would imagine the blue would sound like
Ah, thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Who else would like to share? Unmute, share, and mute back, please.
Not sure if I could associate a color with a sound.
So that's the whole activity, Sujna. Now try to make an association. What would the sound be?
Sound of the waves.
Can you tell me the sound rather than explaining what it would be?
Not sure how to make that sound.
Okay, got it. Would anyone else like to give a shot?
Pavan, I can go.
Yes. Yes. From
Sound would be like some
interesting. We
Okay,
have
for me,
yeah.
it will be a sound of flute because I like it.
Sound of
Flute.
can you
Vasudi,
make this
flute.
sound?
Yeah.
Can you make this
Yeah.
sound, Manisha?
Oh my God. It's difficult. I like hearing it, but I can't make it.
Anyone else?
For me, it's a sound of bells, soft bells by the wind. Cling, cling, cling.
Very interesting. Thanks for sharing that. Now we also have some adolescents on this call. Let's see if any adolescents would like to tell what would the sound of blue be like. Any adolescents? Would you like to try? We have Anya Yashasvi. Would you like to tell what would the sound of blue be like?
I guess the sound of rain.
Can you make that sound, Anya?
No.
Got it. Yeah. See, we as adults, we are leading not in a ideal manner. So they also just want to tell the sound, right? Got it. Okay. Anyone else would like to give it a try? Okay. Let's look at the color blue again. Now, if this color blue had a taste, what would the taste be like? How would it taste? Unmute, tell me the taste and you can mute back. What would be the taste?
Something cold, just like ice cream,
Ah,
and sweet.
sweet ice cream.
Yeah,
Got it.
sweet cream.
Thanks for sharing that. Anyone else? How would it taste?
I think it will be salty.
Think tastes like mint, blue mint.
Mint taste. Wow.
Cooling and mint.
Cool mint. Ah. Okay. If blue had a shape, what would that shape be like?
I think it will be round because for the earth kind of a feeling.
Ah,
Yeah.
round because of earth filled with mostly water. Got it, Aditya. Anyone else?
Maybe cloud.
Ah, shaped like a cloud, which is shapeless, right?
Yeah.
Or any shape.
Any shape. Yes.
Interesting. Anyone else?
Infinitely boundaryless.
In boundless, right? Now, if this color blue had a smell, what would that be like? How would it smell?
Cool wind breeze.
How else?
Like around the ocean.
Around the ocean. The smell you would have around the ocean. Got it.
Smells like rain.
Smells like rain. Now, this creative imagination exercise, we call it as synesthesia imagination activity. For those of you who have children 6+, you can do this over and over again. You can change the color, or you can give them a sound and then ask them to associate that sound with any other sensorial impression. If this sound had a color, what would that be? If this sound had a smell, what would that be? So with this activity, what we are precisely technically doing is we are getting them to integrate all sensorial impressions which are categorized between 3 to 6 into different compartments. Now we are trying to make some connections between each of those sensorial compartments. And this also brings certain crazy kind of imagination, and particularly between for children between 6 and 12, this will be a very, very interesting and fascinating activity. All right. So we did this small activity to nurture the creative side of you, because today's session is all about innovation. So let me give you a little history to today's conversation. We have been developing a very interesting innovation program, and very closely we have been in talks with AMI over last few years, and seeing the kind of interesting work we have been doing, AMI has invited us to present our innovation program in the International Congress, which happened last week in Thailand. And we were the only school, we were the only ones who gave any kind of presentation in this Congress. And this meant a whole world to each one of us. You all know we speak so much about AMI. Me and Munira, we have been attending almost all conferences since 2009. To just be part of this AMI conference feels like a privilege, getting to interact with all leading Montessorians across the world is a very, very nourishing and cherishing experience. And when we got this invitation to present our innovation program, we just could not believe that we are now going to be part of the presentation of this AMI conference. So some of our core team was part of the AMI conference, and we got to present this. So what we presented in the AMI conference, we are recreating that. So we also have adolescents today on the call. There are a couple of projects they have worked on. They will also get to present what they are working on. All right. So the topic was the Montessori Innovators Empowering the Future Through Design, Invention, and Patent Pioneering. So all the work we have done in the last 6 years, we got to present that as a case study to the international AMI audience. So let's begin with this interesting quote of Dr. Maria Montessori. The children of today will make all the discoveries of tomorrow. all the discoveries of mankind will be known to them, and they will improve what has been done and make fresh discoveries. They must make all the improvements in houses, cities, communication, methods of production, etc., that are to be made. The future generation must not only know how to do what we can teach them, they must be able to go a step further. In next 45 minutes, we want you to see how our children bring this code to life. I don't know how many of you know, there are several innovators of today who have been Montessori children. So there was a very interesting article in Harvard Business Review where they have acknowledged Larry Page, Sergey Brin, Jeff Bezos, Jimmy Wales, Peter Drucker, Julia Child, David Blaine, Sheen P. Diddy Combs. They were all students in Montessori schools. And there was another article in Wall Street where they used the term Montessori Mafia and were mentioning how Dr. Maria Montessori would have done something very interesting for this pedagogy to produce so many innovators of today. Now let's understand what about this Montessori pedagogy nurtures that innovative mindset and skill set. By now, you would have heard so much about how children have so much of freedom in a Montessori environment to explore, to experiment, where they make their own discoveries, how the education is based with the foundation of auto education, where they are learning all by themselves. All that didactic scientific material, which has inbuilt control of error, how this system nurtures that strong analytical reasoning and imaginative mind, how it nurtures independence, the kind of freedom we give to children, be it freedom of choice, freedom to work, freedom to choose what they want to work, how from 6 years, children do a lot of interesting research on the areas of their own interest, lot of learning which they do, they get to apply at school, they get to apply at home, real time, and all the abstraction of concepts, what they have, we call it materialized abstraction. So, and there's so many more aspects of this pedagogy which nurtures this innovative mindset. Now, what I'm going to show you, I want you to see this as a layer on top of our Montessori program. And everything which I'm going to show you begins from 6 years. So there is Montessori program which takes care of every subject you can understand, like geography, geometry, math, language. Along with that, we have added another layer of innovation program for our children. Now, what was the foundation of this whole program? Let's read this Montessori quote and then I will build on this. He does it with his hands by experience, first in play and then through work. The hands are the instruments of man's intelligence. And if you see this visual below, this is the brain representation of body with sensorial on the left side and the motor part on the right side. So if you look at all the sensorial impressions which our body experiences, majority of them you would see are centered around hands and mouth. Similarly, if you look at all the movement we do, majority of the movement is centered again around our hands and mouth. And with motor, you would see 80% of the neural structures are around hands and mouth. So in the first 6 years, you would have seen how children manipulate the material. At 6, they have a newfound interest. Now, hands are not just happy making material. Now, hands want to make something. Hands want to create. Hands want to construct. To nurture this need, we have set up an innovation lab. And as I said, all the activities I'm showing you, we start at 6 years. So this innovation lab was designed to nurture the innovative skill set, be it in terms of sketching, using complex tools, 3D models, science models. They get to be a lot of functional prototypes and real-time working models as well. So when we set this up, for a lot of work they do in the environment, they wanted to go to the lab to build some 3D models as a part of follow-up. So there was a presentation given on pollination, and this group of children wanted to build their own imaginative model of that pollination.
Hello, my name is Jera. My name is Ashwin. And my name is Pran. So as you see, we made an bee pollination project, and it was a follow-up work for our presentation, bee pollination. So these two bees over here are the drones, these two are the workers, and this is the queen. So the drone bees and the worker bees collect nectar from the flowers and keep it in the honeycomb. And so I have a small demo of how the worker bees work. Kept the nectar back. Now they're going down to collect more nectar. Thank you.
Isn't that an interesting model? So they got a presentation on different layers of earth, and after getting a presentation on this further composition of the earth with core, mantle and crust, an upper elementary child decided to make a glowing magma centered barysphere using the circuits and bulbs. They were giving the presentation on clock of eras, and one child went and built a fiery Hadean era model. There was a presentation on how air has weight. Now this child wanted to ensure that it is proven. So he took a scale, took two balloons, one was filled with air and one empty balloon, and tied and figured out all by himself that air has weight. So they get to do a lot of work on all the presentations given, be it with math, science, geography, geometry, and then do a lot of follow-up work in that three-dimensional representation. And for a lot of interesting activities, they start designing their own board games. Now, this was the first sign of innovation we could see, when they had freedom to express themselves in that three-dimensional format. For a lot of lessons, a lot of presentations and activities which they were given, that led to a lot of these interesting board games. So here you see action words board game, time zone board game. With all operations, this group of 5 children decided to make one board game which includes all possible operations. So as part of this follow-up activity, we introduce this timeline of human beings where children see the whole human evolution. So once they have done that timeline of human beings where they have seen how human beings evolved, they wanted to experience a lot of that evolution themselves. So we took them out to the bushes where we threw some walnuts, and children took those stones and broke those walnuts with those stones and then made their own stone tools. We also invited one expert who could create fire with that flint stone, where they saw how fire could be generated with that flint stone, with how the earlier human beings have done. And once they generated the fire, they used that fire to burn the clay pots which they have made. So one of the things which led after fire, with the invention of fire, was human beings could put those clay in fire and make strong pots. So they could experience this. One day we took them to bushes and we sent a message to parents that your children will come back home with bruises. So they went to bushes without footwear and experienced what early human beings experienced on being able to walk without footwear. And then they took a lot of materials and made their own footwear.
What have you made, Kati? Okay. Can you show me how you will walk with that?
So we try to take children through all these inventions, how life was before those inventions and what led to those inventions, and then see what has changed after those inventions. So life before, during, and after. So we took our children to this interesting museum called Sudhakar Museum, where this museum has all kinds of interesting design cars. So there's a car which is shaped as a golf ball, lipstick car. After coming back from this museum, children wanted to design their own creative cars. So they got their old cars from home and built these redesigned, repurposed cars. And they came up with some very, very interesting car designs.
Now, children try. I made a chocolate car using cardboard and foil. I made this city and I put the house on the roof and I drawn out so many houses. I made a nice car. I made a pencil car before it was easy. This is the hardware car.
Wasn't that interesting?
Yeah,
Yeah,
very much.
Thank you. So we did a very small project with our children, around building that sensitivity around the design of products. So we introduced a very simple pair of scissors. And if you notice, most of the pair of scissors are designed for right-handed people. So we have shown that, and then children could realize that a left-handed person can also use it, but it's not very comfortable. And then we ask them to look at various objects, various things in the environment to see which of those are designed for left-handed people, right-handed people, or people who are ambidextrous. And children got sharpeners and a lot of things, and they were clearly seeing how some of them are designed only for right-handed children. And then there was one child who saw that the ruler on the centimeter side is designed for right-handed people only. And then this child said, can I go to the innovation lab and design a ruler for left-handed? So this child went, brought a ruler, seeing that there are 17 more children who went to the innovation lab and made those rulers. So we had only one left-handed child back then in the environment, and this child was gifted all those 18 rulers. Now, in this one simple activity, children could understand and experience empathy, equality, being sensitive towards people's usage of be it right-handed or left-handedness. So every project which we work with children, there's a lot of that morality, ethical part, the sensitivity we try to bring in with every Montessori lesson we offer, as well as everything we offer in the realm of innovation. So from whatever you have seen on how we nurture that innovative skill set, we have made a small timeline to give you an overview of how can we nurture both at school and at home. Now, 0 to 6 years, you would see how children are manipulating the material in the Montessori environment. And at home and school, we offer a lot of interesting tools like dining tools, cleaning tools, gardening tools, and art tools. Now, with so much of usage of hands manipulating the material, hands are trained to use a lot of these tools, which we further nurture, where we are getting hands to do a lot of sketching and 3D modeling. So when I say 3D modeling, we want children to build 3D models with cardboard, with paper, with wood, with clay, with any material. They should be able to express themselves in that third dimension. Along with this, we get them to build a lot of interesting science models and engineering models as well. And this is a time where you can introduce art and 3D modeling tools, science tools, measuring tools, geometry tools, and so many more tools. So with the work we have done between 0 to 6 and 6 to 9, if children have done a lot of the sketching, 3D modeling, science models, this will help them build a lot of functional prototypes. So with our children between 9 to 12, whatever ideas they have, now they can express those ideas in a 3D model format and making it as a functional prototype. This is the time where you can introduce art and 3D modeling tools, carpentry tools, electric tools, measuring tools, and many other tools. Now, with all the work we have done till 12, if we have got children to manipulate those material between 0 to 6, 6 to 9, they have built a lot of 3D models, and 9 to 12, if they have built a lot of functional prototypes, now they are ready to build real-time working models. And this is time again where you can introduce every possible tool. Needs to go on mute. Yeah, thank you. So we have discussed how we have supported and nurtured the innovative skill set, right? Now let's look at how are we nurturing the innovative mindset. We already are aware how different aspects of the Montessori pedagogy nurtures this innovative mindset beautifully. We do a lot of interesting projects where we can offer stimulation for different kind of thinking, be it design thinking, creative thinking, critical thinking, lateral thinking, divergent and convergent thinking, and innovative thinking. So in the next few slides, you will see how some of these different kinds of thinkings are nurtured through different projects. All of you would have heard of this term biomimicry at Blue Blocks. So what is biomimicry? It is about inventions inspired by nature for young minds. Bio is life, mimicry is imitating or copying. So what biomimicrists say is nature has all these strategies to address every challenge which humanity is confronted with today. It is a 3.8 billion year old, and it has all the ideas required for us to solve any and every kind of problem very creatively and innovatively. There are a lot of innovations which have been inspired from biomimicry. The Velcro was inspired by those burst seeds. The kingfisher bird has inspired this bullet train in Japan. There's this very interesting mall called Eastgate in Zimbabwe, which is inspired by termite mounds design, like how in desert these termite mounds keep the whole termite mound very cool. Learning from that, few engineers have come together and designed this Eastgate Mall using the cooling technology which termites use for these mounds. The lotus-inspired self-cleaning paints which are coming up. So to nurture this biomimicry mindset and skill set, we have created another dedicated space which we call Biomimicry Hive. Between 0 to 6, you would have seen how there is so much of focus around nature. We have designed our own farm where we try to take children on a regular basis. There's a lot of care of environment, which we encourage children to do. And if you have pets at home, they take care of pets. We try to do a little growing and harvesting of vegetables at our farm. So this becomes the foundation for the work we do between 6 and 9. Between 6 and 9, we are focusing on doing a lot of nature walks. So we have taken our elementary children for a couple of bird walks, and we had some experts who could create a lot of awareness with us around birds. So they do a lot of observation and journaling. And this is the phase where they are very fascinated with mimicking the nature as it is. So between 6 and 9, they like to recreate the nature. So we have introduced the weaver bird knot and how weaver birds build their nest through a very interesting knot which they build with their beak and feet. Now that led to children building those nests. They were extremely fascinated to design the nests they have observed in the nature. Now that would not stop there. They will not stop there. They have built what is there in the nature, and then they wanted to design their own imaginative, creative nests.
For the bird to go down, and there's a small window bottom of this. And this is the second floor, this is the first floor. The top is the first floor and the down is the second floor. That's the weird part. It's not like a real house. And this small bird has this much big nest. So there's even a bed inside.
Similarly, we have shown them the different phases of spider web, and some of them built all those stages and built the final spider web. And that led to, again, crazy amount of their own imaginative, creative spider webs. So a child built a snow web. Few children came together and designed this spider web board game. There was a spy web, there's a web on rent, there's golden web. And then there is this invisible web, which these 3 children will explain to you.
3. Hello, this is a spider. Invisible web. It's dark and you can't see it in the night. Yeah, it's invisible web. It can catch insects in the night and the morning, so they can't see it. In the night, they can't see. Web you cannot see. Spiders we can see, but we can't see web.
So 6 to 9, they have been mimicking the nature as it is. And now that they're observing the nature, they now see how they can mimic nature to solve problems. So a couple of children designed this lotus leaf inspired phone cover. There's gecko feet inspired hand gloves for cleaning high-rise buildings. So for those of you who do not know, the special feature of gecko feet is the gecko feet, which looks like this size. When it is there on the ceiling, it can hold more than 1,000 kgs, that little gecko. So that's where gecko feet has some amazing ability to stick. So learning from that, inspired from the gecko feet, they were designing some hand gloves for cleaning high-rise buildings. Someone wanted to design gecko-inspired footwear. And then our 12 to 18 children are designed, like we already have this seed bank, which is like an ongoing program. A lot of your children would have added seeds to this seed bank. Currently, we have 90 plus different kinds of seeds, and our adolescents now want to build a real-time cold storage for these seeds. So I'll just touch base, like this is like this summary of the biomimicry, which we have just gone through. So if you look at this 12 to 18, when they identify problem, they do a lot of creative thinking, divergent thinking. And once they have done the divergent thinking, before they converge, they look at each idea and see if this idea is sustainable. Will this support sustainability and regeneration, or will it cause damage to ecology? And then we try to look at it from various elements in terms of morality, ethics, sustainability. Will this take forward the humanity, or will it be condescending to humanity? And then once the idea is finalized, they would go through again those steps of sketching, prototyping, testing, evaluating. And the whole realm of biomimicry is to nurture that respect towards the ecology, being responsible not just to be sustainable, but also for regeneration. Most of you know about the drone lab. We started the drone lab because we did one small project of drones with children, and they were very curious, and we saw that drones are the future, and drones gave us an opportunity to introduce multiple disciplines like aeronautical engineering, mechanical engineering, biomimicry, and design thinking. So I'll give you one very interesting example on the model which we have built the whole drone program. Many of you would have seen some of those mechanic sheds where you see a 8 or 9-year-old child assisting this senior mechanic. Now, child labor is the last thing we would ever want to encourage, but I want you to see this from the perspective of the kind of learning this young child has. So this 9-year-old, when he's assisting the boss, by the time he's 12, 13, he can open the machine and put it back. And we know most of the IIT mechanical engineers fresh out of college will not be able to do that. Now let's go back to this child who's joined this mechanic shed at 8. Now, if he also got evening schooling, and if he also could get to school and college, and if he could crack IIT, and if he was sitting in this IIT mechanical engineering class, imagine the kind of perspective this child would have over 59 other students in the classroom. He's already worked with machines at a physical level, and now he is ready to learn about those machines at a very abstract level. So here we are not focusing much on how much they learn about aerodynamics. They get to build a lot of models and figure out whether those models are flyable or not. And then when they learn about the aerodynamics, they know what about those aerodynamics make them fly, what about those aerodynamics will make them fly very stably. So this video will give you insight into the steps and process of how they work on these drones.
You can buy a distinguished drone. What drone do you think we should do? I think we should make a medical drone, or you can buy a distinguished drone, or we can make a rotary drone. We need propellers, a main plane, and motors. Yeah, battery. Yeah. All good? Yes. All good? Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. Now we're trying to fix the last motor, so that will be almost completed. The wing shape propellers. Now that I'm going to place it on the motor, that the propellers have been fixed, I will attach a fire extinguisher.
So typically, whenever they come with any idea, from the idea to making a prototype which is flyable, it takes around 2 to 2.5 hours for them, not more than that. Now, a lot of interesting drone designs. We could come up with a lot of interesting drone designs with just one open question which we asked our children. We told our children to imagine that their drone can do anything which they would want the drone to do, The drone can be anything which they can imagine it to be. What would you like your drone to be? That one question led to some amazing ideas. We had at one point, we had more than 110 interesting drone designs. And for every design they had designed a lot of prototypes. So when we saw a lot of these interesting designs, we realized that some of these drone designs are very, very unique. And we hired an intellectual property firm to see if any of these designs can be patented. This is one of the design and prototype by an 8-year-old child. It's a security drone which this child has built. And we gave every child 10 minutes time to give a presentation. And this child took almost 40 minutes and he was still not done explaining about what and how this whole security drone would work. So seeing all these designs and recruiting this intellectual property firm, they have done the research and we realized that there are 5 ideas which were patentable. So we have applied for 5 patents in drone designs. This was almost 2 years back. And our children dedicated their inventions to Dr. Maria Montessori on the occasion of her 150th birthday. Now we are going to show you something very interesting, very futuristic, which our adolescents have been working on. So as part of adolescents program, one of the important aspects of the program is to nurture the need for economic independence, where they do some real-time projects and they generate real-time revenue. So in next few slides, you will understand what kind of work our adolescents have been doing. Over to you, Anya. Anya, you can unmute and speak. Yes.
I'm not doing this one. It's Ananya who's doing this.
Sorry, Ananya, over to you.
Hello everyone. My name is Ananya and I'm 12 years old. So I will be talking about the problem to solve here. So the problem to solve here is, so during sports classes, we have to arrange a few things with a few sports equipments and all. So it's hard for us to carry the sports equipments from all the way from the storeroom to the playground where we need to arrange it with a bare hand. That's why we're designing this vehicle to carry the sports equipment from the storeroom to the playground. Then it'll be easy for us to arrange and it'll take less time.
Yeah, so to solve this problem, they decided to design an autonomous vehicle. Over to you, Sadhvi.
Hello everyone, my name is Sadhvi and I'm 12 years old and I will be talking about divergent thinking. In divergent thinking, we give all kinds of ideas about a particular topic. For example, for our prototype, Pawan sir encouraged us to think of any idea that comes to our mind, however interesting it may be, and we never say it's impossible. Here were some ideas that we thought of. A bathtub with wings, a flying egg, a flying school bus, and etc. The next step in our project is convergent thinking. Convergent thinking is the opposite of divergent thinking, where you roll out ideas that you do not want to do. We rolled our ideas down to football and rugby ball. We listed down some pros and cons about each design.
Hello everyone, my name is Yasasvi and I'm 11 years old. I will be telling you about the next stage in our project, design and prototyping. We started by dividing into 2 different groups and made 2 different designs, a football and a rugby ball. We also came up with various possibilities for opening and closing the vehicle's hatch. Now, Anya will be taking over and explaining us about the next stage.
Hello everyone, my name is Anya. I am 12 years old and I will be telling you about the next stage in our project, payload managing. What we did in payload managing is we took all the things that we wanted our vehicle to carry and we added them all up. Then, after some trial and error, we got the weight down from 13 kgs to our ideal weight of 4 kgs. The next stage of our project is mapping. What we did in mapping was we measured different parts around the school and then calculated the quickest and most efficient path for our vehicle to take. Now I will hand it over to Shrestha for the next stage of our project.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to meet you all. My name is Shrestha and I'm 12 years old. As you can see in this slide, we are definitely not watching TV. We are actually doing procurement and budgeting. In this step, we need all the material we needed to procure, like the body, the chassis, the motors, and the electric spin controller, so on and so forth. Next slide, please. And these are the images. These are the pictures taken while we're doing the autonomous vehicle. And this is our football-shaped autonomous vehicle looks like right now. And now I'll hand it over to Karthik, sir. Thank you.
And this autonomous vehicle is in progress. So there are various stages in which they will be executing. The first stage will be where it moves from point A to B without obstacles. The next stage would be from point A to B with obstacles and how it will maneuver. And then there are many more stages. Thank you, Shrestha, and thank you all for explaining your autonomous vehicle. So over to you, Karthik.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Pawan. Thank you all. That was a wonderful presentation. And adolescents can't wait to program the autonomous vehicle and make it move. My name is Karthik. I am physics mentor for the Canada adolescents, a parent volunteer. Well, after seeing all the great work done by our children and adolescents, we thought even sky cannot be the limit for our children and adolescents. And that's the reason we are now venturing into something very exciting. We're venturing into space. And we are getting started with a very exciting space program at Blue Blocks. So in the next few slides, we will see adolescents will be sharing with you all how they have collaborated with the IIT Hyderabad design team to design their own space lab. You will be witnessing various interesting and innovative design ideas by our adolescents and how these ideas inspired the IIT team to come up with the final design of the space lab. And you'll also get to see how our adolescents are planning to make this entire space lab program economically self-sustainable. So you can go to the next slide, Pawan. There are some of the pictures from our visit to IIT Hyderabad, where adolescents have formally signed an agreement with IIT Hyderabad. And some of the pictures taken there at the campus. We all had a great time there. And IIT team visited Blue Blocks, engaged a lot of design discussions. So I would request Sanshray to talk about the various designs they came up with. So over to Sanshray.
Hi everyone, I'm Sanshray and I'm 13 years old. So now starts one of our most interesting programs, Space Lab. So to make it even more exciting, we decided to design every tiniest detail possible in the Space Lab, starting from cabinets to the library. We also decided how to shape our tables and chairs. And this is another design for library. This is a design for how to open the cabinets. And we also thought of having a coding lab where we can do research for our space learning. We also thought of having night sessions where we would come to the school at night and do stargazing and study them. We also thought how our blackboard, whiteboard, and everything would be like. And with the revolving planets, in the roof to finish with. We also thought of having a double purpose where we could get the planets to come down with a box, which would enable us to get with some equipment hidden behind. Now I'll hand it over to Harshit. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Harshit and I'm 12 years old. So this is a design of the library. So there are hanging bookshelves and the shelves are designed like rockets and everything about space. And there are also posters over there of Earth and other planets. So we can have hanging planets which are below the ceiling, so the teacher can talk and discuss with us about the planets. And this is like the whole design of the space lab. So we can have a projector in the middle, and we can have globes beside it. So this is another idea of library where you can have a huge globe, and we can have a huge ball magnet in the middle, and for each and every book we can have a magnet in the front page and the back page. So whenever we are done reading the book, we can just keep it back on the wall magnet. This is the second idea of the library, where you can go and sit a huge spaceship, and we can have chairs over there, and we can sit there, and there'll be shelves over there, so you can take a book and read. So this is an idea about tables and chairs, where you can have hanging tables, just like the hanging planets, and we can have high chairs. So now I'll be handing it over to Sanjay. Thank you.
Good evening, parents. My name is Sanjay and I'm 13 years old. And today I'll take you through our space lab. So as you saw in our design that Harshit, Sanshay, me did, the IITians took inputs from our designs and came up with an extraordinary design. So this is how the space lab looks right now. In a second, you can see the whole space lab. So the space lab. So we're launching the space lab commemorating with the landing on the Chandrayaan-3 on the moon. We'll be inaugurating it at the same time when the Vikram lander touches down on the moon. That is on August 23rd, Wednesday, 5:47 p.m. IST tentatively. So we've been making two models, the lander and the rover, the Pragyanyan and the Vikram, for the inauguration of the space lab. So how are we launching our space lab? So for the launch of our space lab, we're doing it in a way that's never have been done before. We're recreating the moment when the Vikram lander touches down on the moon and the Pragyanyan will come out of it. You can watch this happen live on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook on August 23rd. So we're inviting corporate sponsorships for our Space Lab and Space program. Why sponsorship? CubeSat. Well, we want to launch our own Cube satellite every year, real time into space. Space study and research. Astronomy and cosmology, study and research work related to space. Space tech. Building prototypes and working models. I invite all the parents in this meeting to help us find corporate sponsorships for our space lab and space program. To contact us, you can use the email ID below, earthkindleblueblocks@gmail.com. The countdown has begun for the inauguration. T-minus 10 days to go. Thank you for your patience. This is Erdkinder signing off.
Thank you so much, Sanjay, and thank you all the adolescents. Can we give a big round of applause for all the adolescents? You can unmute and let's give them all a big round of applause.
Well done, champions.
Very, very well done.
Very well.
Thank you so much.
Very inspiring.
Now, what you have seen, we have been working on this for more than 6 years now. We have collaborated with more than 60 industry experts, innovators across the country, across the world. And we would have read more than 600 books and different research papers on innovation to neurological development to evolution. And currently we have a very large innovation team, which comprises of me, Munira, Mudla. We have Kiran Mai, who's a chemistry expert. We have Sandhya, who's a biomimicry expert. We have Vikas, who's done his master's from Purdue. We have Ranjan, who's a BTech in aeronautical engineering. We have Somnath, who's currently doing PhD in cosmology. We have Dr. Shobha, who's PhD in biology. We have Karthik, you all met. We have Venkat Ramana, another parent volunteer. We have Dr. Krishna, who's supported us and continue to support with our autonomous vehicle. We have Manish, who's director of SAP, who's been part of our advisory team. Manish, Aditya. We have Arun. We have Srikar, who's from NID. And we have a new joinee in our advisory team. We have Ronak, whom we just met yesterday and realized he's a Blue Blocks parent who's starting this, who started this company recently, Take Me to Space, where he's building CubeSats and empowering schools, colleges to launch more Cube satellites. So that's our team. And I want one of the advisory team members, Manish, would you like to say a few words?
Sure. Pawan, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, okay. I don't know if you can see me also or no, but if you allow me, I just wanted to just share one slide.
Are you able to do this share screen?
1 second. Not yet.
Chandni, can yeah, now I think you can do, Manish.
Okay, 1 second. No, it's not allowing me. So anyways, I'll just quickly let you know what we have been discussing and where we need a lot of help within the community here. And Pawan, thanks a lot for this initiative. I think what we have been discussing, the way we at Blue Blocks, you guys have been leading this topic, innovation, right? We don't see even corporates investing so much time and effort in real sense in doing this, right? So, so what I just wanted to share 3 things that I think as a community that we should invest our time and effort in. One is creating partnerships. So I think we discussed this, but just wanted to share with the larger community, and we will need a lot of help here. So I, for example, wanted to see if there is a possible to partner with somebody like T-Works, if you guys are familiar with it, T-Hub, if you guys are familiar with it, and also, companies like, for example, Tata Aerospace, right? So one is the real partnerships. It's not just, what do you call, just for the name's sake, but actually doing a lot of things with these companies together, right? The other is experiencing and learning. So one option is, companies like Tata Aerospace, or maybe even Dr. Reddy's, right? Companies which have local presence in Hyderabad, and you'll be surprised we are doing, the entire Hyderabad incorporation, right? Where there are so many corporates doing a lot of good work within the state, within the city. So the proximity is there for us to take that through, right? And also wanted to share if we can do with other corporates. So I think there are you would have 100 plus students here in the school now, and 2 parents. And even if we are able to get 20 out of those relationships going with some of these institutes, some of these corporates, I mean, we can do fantastic, right? These partnerships could not just be for co-creating or co-collaborating, but also in terms of really taking it to the next level where, for example, if somebody wants to do or create a product for children, how can we allow our children or our Blue Blocks community children to be part of that research, to be part of that program as well, right? And of course, taking it within the home community, right, or the homes where we live in, we need to create a little bit of infrastructure where this becomes a catalytic effect and impact for everybody, all the children that we have within our parents groups, right? So that's in a very short note. I mean, and we all have signed up. It doesn't mean that this is the only team that is going to work, but we will need a lot of support, a lot of connections, a lot of introductions. And I believe, to be honest, that the entire innovation initiative in Telangana, including what the government is doing, I think is the right place to be in right now in the country. We have space, we have time, we have space lab, we have innovation lab, and we have a lot of things already lined up and tied up. And now with the next speaker, I think if he's there on the call, folks like Ronak coming in, it would add the jelly on top of the ice cream. So appeal request to all the parents and everybody on this call. I think there is every corporate is talking about innovation in India, but I'm telling you the way that we can do things within this Blue Block community, it is much higher notches than anything that is happening currently. So the idea is that children should not just learn, but even practice innovation while they're still learning in these early stages of life. Yeah, I keep telling Pawan that I want to be part of the school. He keeps telling me to do AMI training. I said I want to be part as a student. So it's still it's still a mismatch of all the priorities amongst the two of us. But yeah, jokes apart, I think this is where I think all the minds, all lovely parents can come together. I think it just not helps us as a community to bring up our children, but I feel there's a contribution that each of us has a duty towards taking $3.5 trillion economy in India to more than $10 trillion in the next 10 years. And innovation plays a very important role. I don't see any significant innovations over the last 70 years that has happened in India. We haven't made significant products made in India, made for the world. But I think next 10 years, it is a defining moment. Everybody's looking at us. We are close to 1.5 billion people. Amongst that, just about few hundred is needed on this call to take and make some meaningful contributions. So, Pawan, over to you. Anything else? If it is required, I can share more.
Thank you so much for this, Manish. And
you're welcome.
There are so many names we did not put on that slide. We are here only and only because of the kind of support we have got from parents. Like, every time I look at it this way, I'm blown away. Like, we were doing this announcement for Space Lab, and yesterday Manish connected us to Ronak, who's also Blue Block's parent, who's already into designing satellites. So when you're really up to something, the whole cosmos comes together to make it real. This has been my experience time and again with regard to everything we did with Blue Blocks. The full school we set up in Usman Nagar, the way things happened to how things are happening over a period of time. So thank you, Manish. And I really, really want to thank each one of you on this call and a lot of people who are not on this call. Every time I reached out to any of our parent, and even if they were not parent, the vision we have, the goal we have for our children has inspired so many people to support us at a voluntary level. We have a lot of our parents who are pitching in to work with children based on their expertise. And this is what is getting our children to have some real industry connect, working with people who are working in different industries. Yeah. So can we acknowledge every parent? on this call and every parent who is not on this call, but has been supporting us. Yeah. So now the floor is open for all questions. Any questions, anything you would like to share, anything you would like to tell our adolescents? Unmute and speak.
Firstly, I would like to thank the team and really inspiring. And even as you were talking, so it was going in my mind, how can, who are the right people? And already, so I'm thinking, and definitely it will be our pleasure to somehow, make this even a bigger success.
Thank you so much, Dr. Raju. And we have been trying to see how do we integrate, a lot of interesting work which Dr. Raju does around Ayurvedic with our children. So thanks for always being there, Dr. Raju. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Good evening, everyone. It's really a pleasure to meet everyone here on the call and the kind of a work the children are bringing up. And the way Pawan and the entire team is aligning the things towards design thinking. So me as a parent, what I and what after Manish said and after Pawan's part, I think I, Manish and Pawan, we can get along together a separate meeting where we can discuss further. So I run a design agency.
Right.
And while I say that I run a design agency, and technically I'm based in Hyderabad. So we can discuss and get ourselves aligned and think through that, how we can plan and strategize for our kids, maybe for the research part, for their brainstorm, or however, wherever it's required for the blue docs.
That will really be of great help, Sheetal. Thank you so much.
Sure. And also I've left the message in my child's group as well for the team to get me connected with Mr. Manish as well.
Perfect. Surely, Sheetal. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Hi, this is Ronak here. I was really blown away with especially the scale idea, right? Where, I mean, honestly, never crossed the mind. Here, scale is always right-handed and it could have also been left-handed. Brilliant idea. And that's all it takes, right? To look at the world we look at every day just tilt your head and look at the same thing, you will get a crazy idea, right? I think brilliant innovations you guys are doing, and thanks to the way you have structured the innovation, now I can see it. I think the world is open to explore. So with that, I think now that you're getting the space is something traditionally which has been very red tape, only stuck to scientists and organizations. When kids, I think, with this generation looks at it, they would really exponentially bring in innovation to the space industry. I'm pretty excited what these kids can do, especially when it comes to CubeSats and rockets. So yeah, looking forward to that. Thank you.
Great, Ronak, and thank you so much for coming on board.
And you want to talk about your goosebump, the moments as well yesterday, Pawan, when you met Ronak? I'm just kidding. Yeah, but it was quite interesting. Ronak, thanks for actually coming.
One thing I want to add,
and,
all our kids, I think all the adolescents or maybe kids of the 60s, they're all going to go for a date on the moon for reality, right? Today we can, and today the price of going to space is $2,000. By the time our kids grow up, they'll be like, "Chalo, moon chalta date," right? And that's going to be the reality. So yeah, taking a space card will be taking an aircraft in the future, in next 20, 30 years. So yeah, we are up for a very different next gen experience, all of us. Looking forward to that.
Thanks, Ronak. Anyone else?
I'm really fascinated to look at all this, especially design thinking. I'm in my late 30s and I did a course from IIM 2 years ago, and that's first when I learned about design thinking. And I don't think, and I've not done so much of a practical sessions like how your children have been doing. So I echo what Manish said. I was thinking what Manish said, that I was looking, maybe I should be a student over there. So.
And one interesting thing about learning design thinking as an adult versus as children, Ajit, As an adult, you understand it, but it will not become part of your personality that easily. But imagine children working on quite a few number of projects right from grade 1 till 10. Now that whole approach to design thinking becomes very integral part of their whole personality. And by the time our children touch grade 10, I can tell you, each one will have their own spiral of design thinking, which fits into their own mental framework.
True, true. And especially the divergent thinking, right? At a later age, we are more focused on convergent thinking. The divergent doesn't come at all. It's like, why should I? It's always scrutiny in our mind. So we never diverge. So that's, and it's beautiful in their age. I mean, they're so free to do it. So.
And that's the time where we got to nurture that to the maximum extent, right? Yeah.
Yes. And question I have is, are children more focused towards, you're giving a lot of exposure to really good technology design and, engineering. So how is it, suppose you have 40 children or so, are they all inclined towards it, or like some are like, I'm not interested in this, I want, go towards poetry or biology or something like that, or how I'm just interested to know.
So this is not, the whole innovation program is not engineering specific, Ajit. It is like they can do around biology, as you said, geography, geometry. It has no boundaries. Now we brought in that whole drone program to give them more interesting challenge to hands so that they can use many interesting tools. That's the whole idea. But like there can be innovation around language, a lot of interesting language games which they came up, and there's some of them being trained myself. I cannot even comprehend their ideas of how they came up with some interesting language board games. So it is not specific to any one area. The whole idea, Ajit, is to nurture that innovative mindset and skill set. And for a lot of things we do, see, we have redesigned that whole innovation pedagogy catering to children's needs, like their needs of imagination, their need for reasoning, their need to use their hands to do any creative work. So that is what the whole program is offered to, Ajit. It is not offered to what we think they should be doing. Everything is designed from their perspective. Yeah. Great. Thanks for asking that.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
So, I'm working with a multinational software company, so like Amazon, and I'm a senior software architect over there. And I'm really inspired by the design thinking and like divergent thinking, because believe me, and like my 90% of time goes into this architecture design, like how they fit with each other. And we have a leadership principle called think big. Like, and I'm seeing the same thing being like integrated into these kids. It's like God will take them to the higher heights and like reveal which of the future for them. Like I have never done these things, and I'm struggling with this role. And if they are already embedded with such a young age, they can do very excel with the jobs. Yeah. Thank you for doing this.
I'm glad you could see, how this will help them when they grow up, Sakshi. Thank you so much for sharing that. Anyone else? Yeah, Poonam.
Hi, Pawan. This is Poonam, and I work for Innovators, and I have a 3-year-old who is studying with Blue Blocks. Today, I'm feeling so proud that I'm sending her to Blue Blocks. I have learned this design thinking and everything when I started working. And I'm from strategy background. There, everything revolves around how good you can make your product, how all these things and all the things which you have mentioned for these kids play so good role in understanding all these subject and all these technicalities. So I'm super happy today that my daughter is going to Blue Blocks. Thank you so much.
Glad
and
to.
I would also like to collaborate if given a chance. Yeah, I would definitely drop a message in Suhanvi chat, and then.
Perfect.
Thank
you. And from there we'll build on. Thank you so much for offering this. And on this call, a lot of you might not be able to get to speak or might not be in a position where you can speak. If not today, whenever you feel you can contribute to anything to do with what we said, just drop a message in your child's group and one of us will reach out to you and set up some time with you and take it forward. And, thank you so much, Poonam, for sharing, how we learned a lot of these things as adults. And when I myself was doing this research along with our team, like, every part of this whole innovation pedagogy stimulates our intellect in such an interesting manner that I have been going crazy, like all those 600 books. 3 days back, I have gifted it to our adolescents and they all went berserk. They're like, all these books are for us. And I said, yes, now these become part of your library too. So they are in the process of rearranging all the books which they have got.
Wow, this is amazing. Thank you so much, Pavan.
Thanks, Poonam. Anyone else?
Pavan,
Yeah, Krishna.
actually, I mean, a lot of this work that we are doing, and see, when the group comes, most of this is like a spontaneous. I mean, what we want to do for our children. It's at that moment what comes, it is spontaneous. So as the group progresses, another group comes. So is this being, inculcated into, I don't know how to put this also. Is that being inculcated into the process of, okay, what the blue blocks is bringing in? How to, the next generation comes to this place. So whether that generation also follows this, I mean, how the next group will actually, it's like in general schools will have syllabus, all those things, the structured approach. This is a spontaneous approach. So how that is being taken care?
Excellent question, Krishna. You're absolutely right. A lot of this is spontaneous and a lot of this is also structured, Krishna. So there is a lot of structure to it where we introduce a lot of like with science models, engineering models. And when they're doing those models, our children don't like to just do what is offered. They always want to do their own version. And that's the beginning of innovation. And from there, it leads to so many different interesting things, Krishna. So there is enough structure and there is enough openness. And most of the time, they're always working in a group, and every model they build, at some point, they get an opportunity to showcase it to all other age groups. So they don't just learn from their own exploration, experimentation, and what they have come up with, but they also get to learn from everything else happening in all the floors, Krishna.
Thank you. Sorry for not having video, my camera.
I totally get that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Anyone else? All right. Can we acknowledge everyone for being on this call? It really meant a lot for us to have you on the call. It was a huge encouragement also for our adolescents. We take various opportunities for children to do these real-time presentations, and adolescents get them more often than elementary children. Elementary children get opportunities in small groups, and then once they're adolescents, they get to be part of lot of these large presentations. Great. Thank you so much for being on this call. All of you know when we are launching, the time is tentative because the time might change. We will give you a few reminders when children are going to launch the lander and the rover coming out of it. We would all want you to see it live. We will try to put it on YouTube, Facebook, Insta, every other social media. We would like to go live. You can share the link. Once we share the live details, you can share it with anyone you would like to. We would want more and more people to witness how we are launching the Space Lab. So the whole school is pretty excited. Everyone at school is excited about the space launch, our Space Labs launch. Thank you so much again. Thank you so much for being integral part of Blue Blocks community. But for your support, there's no way we could have even imagined, forget about accomplishing, there's no way we could even imagine what we have done. And with your support, as Karthik said, now even sky is not the limit for our children. And we are really, really looking forward to they accomplishing some real game-changing things while they're at school today, not someday when they grow up. Thank you so much again. See you all at school sometime.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.